Grand Teton National Park has captivated outdoor lovers for generations, with striking snowy peaks, pristine alpine lakes, and a variety of abundant wildlife. This national park in northwestern Wyoming spans over 300,000 acres, and it's the type of place that gets into your soul. Join us to uncover the best things to do in Grand Teton National Park. Grand Teton Scenic Drive. You'll find a majority of landmarks and plenty of great landscapes along the 42-mile Grand Teton Scenic Loop Drive. With tons of easy-to-access roadside viewpoints and over 200 miles of hiking trails, there's abundant ways you can experience the national park. Mormon Row Historical District. Mormon Row is a group of century-old homesteads right in the heart of Jackson Hole, with front-row views to the Teton Range. It's especially beautiful at sunrise, where the morning sun embraces the mountains in a dramatic display. The photogenic John Moulton Barn and T.A. Moulton Barn are some of the most mesmerizing buildings in the Mormon Row Historical District, offering a glimpse into the lives of Mormon homesteaders from a century ago. In addition to the famous barns, you'll see the Moulton's pink stucco house and an irrigation system used to water crops in the often harsh valley. Just north of the John Moulton Barn is the Murphy Homestead. South of it, the iconic T.A. Moulton Barn and a few other homesteads. Luckily, they're all easy to reach with parking right by the barns, and all backed by the Teton Mountain Range, the tallest of which, the Grand Teton, rising 13,770 feet high. Schwabacher Landing is up there among the most jaw-droppingly beautiful sights in Jackson Hole. When the water is calm, the mountains reflect off the glassy Snake River, creating the type of scene you'll remember forever. Schwabacher Landing, like much of the park, is incredibly beautiful around sunrise, where the sky is awash with color and the sun slowly reveals the looming mountains. Try to explore the full half-mile trail if you're able. It packs more amazing scenery, and here we were fortunate to see a moose appear from the forest to graze in the water. It slowly made its way along the riverbank, right in front of the heart of the Tetons. What a moment. The national park recommends staying at least 25 yards from these huge, potentially dangerous animals. Besides moose, you can see other large mammals like elk, pronghorn, bighorn, bears, and bison throughout the park at places like Antelope Flats, Pilgrim Creek Road, and Elk Flats Ranch. Cunningham Cabin is easy to miss from the road, but it was one of our favorite stops. It gives you a gorgeous view of the mountains and the historic Cunningham Cabin. What's remarkable is that you can go inside this landmark that dates back to the 1800s. The south side of the building was a modest primary residence, while the north side was used for blacksmithing. There's also a famous shootout here in 1893 between a U.S. Marshal and alleged horse thieves. Another top-tier lookout you won't want to miss is Oxbow Bend. Like Schwabacher Landing, Oxbow Bend is another awesome spot to catch the mountains reflecting off the water. Next door, there's also Upper Oxbow Bend, which trades the river for a foreground of flowers and greenery instead. There's many other worthwhile roadside overlooks, or turnouts as they're sometimes called, and we'll rank them all in a different video. But the last notable lookout for now is the Snake River Overlook. This S-curve in the river was famously featured in the work of legendary American landscape photographer Ansel Adams. The trees have grown since then, but it still deserves a visit. Jenny Lake, Cascade Canyon. Jenny Lake serves as the gateway to the ever-popular Hidden Falls, Inspiration Point, and Cascade Canyon, making it one of the top destinations in Grand Teton National Park. To get to these sites, you have options. You can hike around the lake via the Jenny Lake Loop Trail, or pay for the shuttle boat across the lake. The shuttle boat skips the 2-mile per way hike to the Cascade Canyon trailhead and runs every 15 minutes. Know that there can be big lines depending on the season and time of day. We took the Jenny Lake Trail just beyond the shuttle dock to hike our way to Hidden Falls, Inspiration Point, and Cascade Canyon. Along the Jenny Lake Loop Trail, you'll pass through the beautiful forest and experience fantastic views of Jenny Lake and the Teton Range. The hike also gives you the option to visit the moose ponds. We gave it a shot hoping to spot another moose, but no luck this time. They're most common around dawn and dusk. We did spot a cute marmot later on though. They're all over the park. Continuing on the Jenny Lake Trail, you'll eventually reach Hidden Falls, a spectacular 100-foot cascading waterfall. True to its name, you can hear Hidden Falls long before you can see it. Once you get to the falls, it's super refreshing, especially on a warm day. The water cascades down the rocks, spreading a much welcome cool mist in the breeze. If you take the shuttle boat, Hidden Falls is an easy 1-mile hike out and back with 300 feet in elevation gain. If you hike via the South Jenny Lake Loop Trail, it's a moderate 4.9 miles out and back with 600 feet of elevation gain. If you continue just a bit further, you'll reach Inspiration Point, a view that's absolutely worth the climb. It's only half a mile beyond Hidden Falls, but up a long stretch of steep, rocky cliffside stairs. It can be narrow, uneven, and nerve-wracking, especially towards the top, but it's manageable if you take your time and watch your step. Once you reach the top, you'll be rewarded with a stunning overlook of Jenny Lake and the valley below. What a gorgeous view. To continue the adventure, head further into Cascade Canyon for a quieter, more peaceful hike with some of the best views the national park has to offer. After you pass Inspiration Point, the trail levels out and follows a beautiful creek, deeper and deeper into the canyon. Cascade Canyon is insanely beautiful, with Mount St. John, Tewanot Mountain, Mount Owen, and the Grand Teton herself watching over you. The views keep getting better the further you go. Towering cliffs, alpine meadows, and crystal clear water everywhere. We were lucky enough to see both a bear and a moose with her calf in Cascade Canyon. The bear was off in the brush, doing its own thing, munching on some berries, and the moose and her baby were hanging out near the creek. It was amazing, but also a good reminder to keep that bear spray handy and give wild animals plenty of space. The trail seems to go on forever, but go as far as you want before turning around. Even just a few miles in, it feels like you're deep in the backcountry, creating memories that will last a lifetime. Cascade Canyon via the shuttle boat is a moderately strenuous 9.5 mile out and back hike with 1,480 feet of elevation gain. We made it slightly more than halfway through the canyon, but what a hike. We were happy to take the return shuttle boat back across Jenny Lake. String Lake. String Lake is a smaller lake that's more shallow than its neighbors, but that just means it has warmer, safer water to enjoy. You can wade pretty far into this idyllic lake without it getting too deep, making it perfect for families. The calm water is also great for kayaks and paddleboarding, and what a gorgeous setting to do so. String Lake makes a great picnic spot and has a 3.7-mile easy loop trail, with an option to go further to Lee Lake. Taggart and Bradley Lakes. The Taggart and Bradley Lake Loop is a pleasant hike to a pair of glacial lakes backed by the mighty Tetons. This trail winds through the forest, offering tons of great scenery along the way. You can reach Taggart Lake with a 3-mile out and back hike, or tack on Bradley Lake for a 6-mile loop that's rated moderate and gains nearly 900 feet in elevation. You'll know you've arrived when you reach a cool wooden bridge crossing Taggart Creek. This is Taggart Lake. What a view. We arrived just in time for a quick rain shower. It's amazing how quickly the weather and the views change around here. Despite getting wet, we pressed on to nearby Bradley Lake and were rewarded with sunshine and amazing mountain views. Because it's slightly farther, Bradley Lake is also less crowded and more peaceful than Taggart Lake. A perfect place to rest and enjoy the scenery. Even the return stretch of this loop was gorgeous, with abundant wildflowers and the mesmerizing mountain backdrop. We were even fortunate to spot a moose grazing in the forest, not too far from the trail. Delta Lake. If you're up for some serious adventure, there might be no better hike in the Grand Tetons than to Delta Lake. As nice as all the previous lakes are, this puts them all to shame, with unbelievably turquoise water watched over by the Grand Teton. These views don't come easy, however. The hike to Delta Lake is rated hard at 7.4 miles out and back, with nearly 2,300 feet of elevation gain. The trailhead starts at the end of Lupine Meadows Road. Like most popular hikes here, you'll want to start early to find parking. The trail begins relatively flat, and this is where we saw a young bear not too far into the hike. As you go along, you'll tackle some long switchbacks through fields of wildflowers. Get great views of Bradley and Taggart Lakes from above. And finally, venture through the last portion that's not maintained by the National Park Service. Getting to Delta Lake requires scrambling up an increasingly steep rock section. It's a doozy, but the reward is the alpine crown jewel of the Tetons, Delta Lake. It gets this intense turquoise color due to small rock dust suspended in the frigid water created by the glaciers. Because of the altitude, nearly 9,000 feet above sea level, it can be chilly up here, even in summer. But that doesn't stop thrill seekers from testing out the water and taking a dip for themselves. Delta Lake is a great destination, but it isn't the only awesome alpine lake on this trail. Back to the maintained path, if you hike up a few more switchbacks and another 1,000 feet in elevation, you'll reach Surprise and Ampitheater lakes. These beautiful glacial lakes are only half a mile away from each other and are even connected by a waterfall. You can reach both with a 10-mile round-trip hike from the Lupine Meadows parking lot, gaining nearly 3,000 feet in elevation. To do all three lakes, Delta, Surprise, and Ampitheater, it's around 12 miles out and back. Professionals might do it more quickly, but it took us basically the entire day. Worth it. At least there's Dornans, where you can refuel in more ways than one. The popular restaurant/resort/gas station can be found near the park entrance in Moose. Teton Village. To see mountaintop views without hiking, head to Teton Village. To grab a sightseeing ticket, to ride 4,000 vertical feet up the Jackson Hole aerial tram. It's a breathtaking 10-minute journey to the summit of Rendezvous Mountain, which stands tall at 10,500 feet above sea level. From the top, you'll be met with sweeping views of the Jackson Hole Valley, the Teton Range, and the rugged wilderness beyond. On Rendezvous Mountain, you can walk out on the Grand Teton Skyway, a nerve-wracking viewing platform, or enjoy some quick hikes to soak in the high alpine scenery. In summer, wildflowers carpet the meadows, and the trails come alive with the sound of buzzing insects and chirping marmots. The landscape is world-class, and don't head back down before trying the famous gourmet waffles at Corbett's Cabin, a beloved treat at the top of the world. Back down in Teton Village, the fun continues. It's a lively hub for families and thrill seekers alike, with mountain biking, live music, and outdoor events throughout the summer season. Jackson Lake. Jackson Lake is one of the nation's largest high-altitude lakes, dwarfing all others in Jackson Hole. It started as a glacial lake, but grew even bigger with the construction of the Jackson Lake Dam. It's a nice spot for sightseeing, picnics, and trout fishing. Just downstream of the dam is a common spot where folks set off to float down the Snake River. Signal Mountain Summit. For more easy-to-access mountaintops, make your way to the Signal Mountain Summit. It stands at nearly 8,000 feet and is accessible by car or hike. Here you can see Jackson Lake, the Teton Range, and the Jackson Hole Valley from 2 scenic overlooks. Downtown Jackson. Don't skip downtown Jackson. It's a classic western town that, though it's now bustling with tourists and super gentrified, still retains some classic cowboy roots. You can see this interesting contrast fully on display downtown at Jackson Town Square. 4 arches made with real elk antlers welcome you on all 4 corners of the square. During summer, the square harkens back to its Wild West past by hosting a performance shootout at 6 p.m. every day except Sunday. The Cowboy Bar is a major attraction, and just off the square, you can find hip breakfast restaurants like Persephone and Cafe Genevieve. One of our favorite spots is Hand Fire Pizza, where half the fun is watching them make their delicious pizzas right in front of you. The National Elk Refuge. The National Elk Refuge between Jackson and the National Park covers nearly 25,000 acres of protected wilderness and is a crucial winter haven for one of the largest elk herds in North America. Remember those antler arches downtown? Well, the Elk Refuge is where they come from. Elk naturally shed their antlers towards the end of winter. In spring, as the snow melts and the vegetation comes back, the elk migrate back up to their summer ranges, meaning you're unlikely to see them here at the refuge during warmer months. Backside of the Tetons. Don't forget about the west side of the Teton Range, known as Teton Valley. This side is more quiet and has perfect late afternoon lighting for hiking and exploring. And just like sunrises slowly illuminate the mountains from the east, the sunsets linger on the Teton's western face in a ceremonious send-off to another day in paradise. That wraps up our guide to the Grand Tetons. Please click those nice buttons. We love you.